Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Foreign Correspondents Club of Japan. I am Khaldoon Azhari, Vice President and member of the Professional Activities Committee who organized this press conference. Our esteemed speaker today is joining us also online. From Beirut, we have the honor of hosting Mr. Carlos Ghosn, the former CEO of Nissan. His leadership was instrumental in rescuing the company from near bankruptcy and restoring its position as one of the top car makers globally. Earlier today, we had Mike Taylor, who engineered Mr. Ghosn's escape 5 years ago on December 30th. I want to thank our club member and former president, Roger Scheffler, who was instrumental in arranging this event today. Mr. Ghosn needs no introduction at the club and globally, actually. He first spoke at the club in November 2000, giving us a progress report about Nissan's revival plan. The ordeal Mr. Ghosn had with the Japanese justice system is known to us all. Note that he's suing Nissan and Nissan executive for $1 billion in Lebanon. Today's press conference is a significant moment in the automotive industry for Nissan, the company Mr. Ghosn rebuilt. This company is reportedly in serious financial difficulties again. However, we understand that Nissan and Honda are trying to form a new alliance. Mr. Ghosn has already offered some strong opinion about that to some media. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to give Mr. Ghosn the floor to speak, but he just told me that he has nothing to say as a presentation, and he is ready to take your questions immediately. So let's start the session in Q&A. If you have any question, please raise your hand and proceed to the front mic and tell us your name and affiliation. And the language today is English only. Thank you. And let's start with the first question. Yes, please. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Otherwise, good morning. This is Yamamoto with Daily Automotive News Japan, in Japanese, Nikkan Jidosha Shimbun. I would like to ask you two questions. Could you kindly give me your evaluation about the new plan of the Honda and Nissan? And besides, if you were president now, what is your decision? Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. Obviously, my evaluation about what's going on is not as deep as if I was in charge. For the last 6 or 7 years, I did not get any deep information about the real situation of Nissan company. But what I know, from what I know, is that Nissan is in trouble because first, you can see it through the numbers, which are official. The first one is the fact that in terms of size, Nissan went from 5.8 million cars sold in 2017, 2018, to practically 3.2 million cars sold now, which is more than 40% decrease. The profit level obviously decreased a lot more than practically disappeared. Nissan used to make $6 to $7 billion of profit every year, and now the profits are practically at zero level. They are at break even at best. There was more than $20 billion in cash, and I understand now the company has problems of financing. But the most important thing is it looks like there is no vision. That means the plans that Nissan has announced, the different plans that they have announced for the last years, do not make sense and do not stand, and that's why they keep changing. They keep changing them. On another note, there was an alliance which was working in 2018 that worked very well for 19 years, between 1999 to 2018, without any hiccup. And we've been told after my arrest that this alliance will continue, that the work will be done in a different way. And you know very well, all of this was fake because the alliance with Renault stopped. There is no more work. There are still exchange of shareholding, but I can tell you soon it will disappear. So in 2020, I told you that the alliance will disappear, and it disappeared, that Nissan would be in trouble, and it is today in trouble. And when I look at the different tentatives of Nissan to try to shore itself with the help of somebody else, which means they're not capable to do it anymore by themselves, it's very sad to see the situation. Now, I was a little bit surprised to see that what was considered is an alliance or a partnership or a merger, whatever you want to call it, with Honda. Because the first thing, if you look at it from an industrial point of view, the first thing that you look at when you want to envision an alliance or a partnership is the complementarity between the two partners. Well, I look at the complementarity between Honda and Nissan, and I see none. Okay, there is no complementarity. The two companies are two Japanese companies. They are strong in the same fields. They are weak in the same fields. Both of them have very developed technologies. That means, from an industrial point of view, there is duplication everywhere. So industrially, for me, it doesn't make sense. Now, maybe they can find synergies for the future. That's possible, but it has to be planned. It has to be studied. And for the moment, we don't know anything about all these plans. We don't even know if it's an alliance, if it's a merger, if the two companies are going to remain separate. So it's too early to call. But the premises don't look good because the complementarities between the two companies are not obvious. For somebody who has been living in this industry for so many times, I don't see anything obvious into this partnership or this alliance. Now, this is from an industrial point of view. Now, from a political point of view, it's a different story. Because you know very well that a movement like this cannot be done without the agreement of the métier. Now, if the métier has decided, for reasons which are specific to them, not to lose control of Nissan, then it has to be in the hands of another Japanese interest. Then it makes sense. It makes sense politically. But then it means that you are, again, putting control above performance. So you don't care about what's going to be ultimately the performance of the company. What you care is to keep the control on the company, if even this means that the company is going to be more fragile, more weak, and will not play a first-hand role into this industry. That's what I think. But I think we're going to have to wait to see what happens if this materializes. But for me, it doesn't look very good. That's what I can tell you on this topic.
Thank you. Shimura-san.
My name is Takuya Nishimura, freelance journalist. Thank you very much. And one of the reasons to starting talks between Honda and Nissan was the 90% decline in sales in 6 months profit in September. So did you see any problem in the sales of Nissan at the time you were the top manager of Nissan in sales in North America and China? And second question, and the most important element for car manufacturer for the future is not the engine or fuel efficiency or something like that, but it's software. Did you see any problem in developing software in Nissan company when you were the top manager? Thank you.
Okay. Well, on the first question, obviously, the markets like the United States or China are not easy market. They are very competitive, and it has always been competitive. And in 2017, in 2018, obviously, we had challenges, we had competitions, but we were growing. You look at the size of Nissan in the United States in 2018, and look at the size of Nissan in the United States now, or look at the size of Nissan in China in 2018, and look where it is now. But what happens between 2018 and now, unfortunately, it's always end up with management, is that not only I was arrested in the conditions that and which was a coup and nothing else, but from the other side, many people inside Nissan left the company. These people were talented people. I'm going to give you only one name, which is interesting today and the kind of ironic. In 2017, 2018, José Munoz was in charge of the performance of the company, and he was in charge of the United States. He left Nissan practically 2 weeks after my arrest. And you know where José Munoz is today? He headed Hyundai in North America, and Hyundai today is far bigger than Nissan in North America, while it was the contrary in 2018. And he was promoted recently to become the CEO of Hyundai Motors, even though, as you know, he's a foreigner. He's a Spanish national, but his talent has been recognized by the Koreans, and they gave him the top job of Hyundai Motors. And when you look at the results of Hyundai Motors compared to Nissan Motors, the picture is very clear. The problem that Nissan has been facing for the last 5-6 years is that politics took control, plotting took control, kind of internal fighting took control, and people lost sight of what is essential, which is really the business. And I can tell you that I'm when I look at the top management of Nissan, frankly, I'm not absolutely comforted that they have the talent in order today to face the challenges that they're facing. And that's one of the reasons for which they are surrendering in a certain way in a panic mode by saying, please help us. And they're turning to an arch rival of Nissan, which has been Honda. And what's interesting is Honda, as you know, has no experience in alliances, no experiences in mergers. This company is a very successful company, very proud company. It's an engineering company. And frankly, I wonder how this is going to work. That means it cannot work. This is the situation in which Nissan is finding itself today. Now, for software, yes, software development is important. It's even more important today than it was in 2018. We had the capacity to develop software, and we have developed software, and we have made partnerships with companies who did software in 2018 2017 and in 2018. I cannot tell you what happened in between because I was not at the helm of the company.
Thank you. I have many questions online. Let me start with one from Financial Times. Leo Lewis, he asked, you have been very clear in recent interviews that Japan's Ministry of Economy and Trade and Industry, MITI, has orchestrated merger talks between Honda and Nissan, and that it has a very significant influence over the Japanese companies. Can you give concrete examples from your time as head of Nissan when MITI pressured or forced Nissan or you as its leader to undertake any business decision that you would not have taken otherwise? If you do have an example, how were you able to explain that to shareholders? Thank you.
Yeah. MITI did not intervene when things going well. All right, they don't intervene when things going well. When Nissan, obviously, MITI was observing at the beginning in 99, 2000, 2001, when I was operating the Nissan Revival Plan, and I can tell you, if there was any failure, I would have been ejected without any problem, one way or the other. Not by the shareholders, but by the environment that MITI can create. Now, between 1999 and 2018, there was no reason because Nissan was growing. We were creating jobs. We were the number one car maker. The share was at a very high level. So there was no reason for intervention. Now, do they force somebody? No, they won't force, but they can give you arguments that you cannot refuse, and they can put you an offer that you cannot refuse. There is, for people who are living in Japan, you know very well that MITI is very well informed about the situation of the company. During my tenure as the CEO of Nissan of so many years, I used to have a lot of meetings with the head of MITI. I had my own executives meeting regularly with MITI to updating them about what was going on, to explain to them the situation. And it was part of the common sense to make sure that the authorities were not troubled by what was happening inside the company. That's why I was really shocked and surprised when they, without any doubt, with their approval, if not with their incentive, I don't know, they organized a plot to get rid of me. Instead of getting rid of me, if they want to get rid of me through normal corporate ways of there is a board meeting, the CEO is put in minority, or the chairman is put in the minority, he has to leave, and then you solve the problem internally to the company. They just, allowed the prosecutor to go with this ridiculous case against me about my retirement package, which was neither voted nor paid. And then I went through the hostage justice system of Japan that you all know, which frankly, I consider as a shame for a country like Japan. So was I forced to do something? No, but there was no reason for me to be forced because everything was going well. Now, what's interesting is that they thought that after getting rid of me, situation will be normal, the lines will continue to work. The management of Nissan, which has been trained by me for 17 or 18 years, would be very successful and the company will continue to strive. And you know the results. And when you look at 2018 and you say what all these accusations that were brought against me, I ask only question. I obviously consider them all false and fabricated. But let's suppose they were true. Who is the victim? Where is the victim? I don't see any victim. Now, when I look at the situation of Nissan today, and I see the tens of billions of dollars wasted, the plants which are going to be closed, the community which is going to be suffered, the employments were going to be destroyed. Now, we have victims here. We have mixed victims of mismanagement, of lack of vision, and of an obsession for control. And I don't know who's going to pay back this victim, who are going to, in a certain way, have to be accountable for all the damage, all the industrial damage and the human damage which has been created.
Hello, I'm Sayumi from Nikkei Asia. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I have two questions. My first one is about the potential merger of Nissan and Honda. I think auto industry players are at crossroads with the EV in China coming along and self-driving technology, and then there's also geopolitical tensions right now with the Trump administration, etc. So in such an environment, how strategic can this merger be, and what will the impact of this merger be on Japan's broader auto industry, its suppliers, other competitors, and the overall competitiveness of Japanese cars? And my second question is about yourself, actually. I'd like to ask your future plans. You've established a notable status in this industry, but you've been staying in Lebanon for the past 5 years, and you're in a difficult condition to leave the country, I understand. So how do you intend to spend your coming years? Do you have any planned activities? That's my second question. Thank you.
Okay, for the first question, I mean, in my opinion, from an industrial point of view, and again, I'm talking only as a businessman. I'm not talking as a politician or somebody playing into who wants to control what into this industry. I personally don't think that if this merger takes place or this alliance takes place, personally, I don't think it's going to be successful. Again, because too much duplication and not enough complementarity. And again, don't forget that Honda is an engineering organization. Engineers in Japan are talented, but they're very proud also. In front of them, they have also a very strong engineering organization in Nissan, very proud of what they do, and having developed a lot of technology. So I wonder who's going to make arbitrage between what technology to choose? Who's going to make arbitrage about what platform to choose? Who's going to make arbitrage about who's going to develop what technology for the future? I don't see it. And I see a lot of difficult time for whoever, if this goes, about who's going to make this kind of decision. What is the strong structure at the head? Who's going to, at the head of this entity, who's going to be able to do that? Now, from a second point of view, I can tell you today, as you know, the forces growing in this industry are very different from the one when I was on in 2000 or even in 2010. Today, you have to count with the Chinese car makers. Chinese car makers were practically irrelevant in the years 2000. They became a little bit relevant in 2010. They are a strong force today. As you know, China became today the largest exporter of cars in the world. They have technology, they have many brands, they are on the offensive, they are very focused. They have the support of their community. There are strengths to be reckoning on. And then you have another force, which are the tech company like Tesla, which are also growing. It's not a surprise today that Tesla represent, from the latest statistic, more than 50%, by itself represent more than 50% of the all capitalization of the automotive industry. So frankly, in a certain way, today, Nissan has been marginalized by its own weaknesses and by its own mistakes. Honda is much stronger than Nissan, but still is not a developing force into this industry. I think a potential alliance or partnership between the two companies are going to be another company fighting for survival and relevance into this industry. But without any doubt, they're going to have a tough time against the Chinese, against companies like Tesla, and also against Toyota, which is obviously facing these challenges in a way which is much more convincing. So, again, I can't predict the future, but I can tell you the seeds of conflicts, of problems are already there. Now, when it comes to me, yes, I have a lot of activities even based here in Lebanon, in many different fields between education, business, startups. I spend a lot of time also defending myself from legal attacks, or also fighting for my own rights, particularly against Nissan. And I was really a little bit stunned to see Nissan spending so much money on legal fees to fight me, while they need all these resources to really do their job, which is not that, but try to be relevant into the car market.
Thank you. Anthony Trotter from ABC is asking this question online. Nissan was nearly out of the race before you took the wheels and drove it to the head of the pack. But in today's auto industry, is there another company, big or small, with the potential to accelerate like that with the right driver? Yes.
Look, frankly, I'm a person who is convinced that at the end of the day, human talent make a difference. Okay, human talent make a difference. I can give you an example. I'm not going to talk about Nissan, but let's talk about Tesla. When you look at the market capitalization of Tesla, okay, how much of it you attribute to Elon Musk? Okay, you can answer the question, but a sizable part of it is due to him. If you eliminate Elon Musk from the head of Tesla, how much of it will remain? I don't know, but I can tell you a sizable part goes away. So if you have the right driver, if you have somebody who's experienced, who know how to do these kind of things and navigate in turbulent time, who understand the basics of this industry, what are the pitfalls and what are the opportunities for the future, anything can be made. I don't think a situation is desperate, never desperate. What is desperate is you can't find the solution, or you don't have the right solution to really change the situation. When I arrived in 1999, the situation of Nissan was desperate. You know, Nissan has tried a couple of plans that didn't work. Renault was not the first choice of Nissan. We ended up being at the helm because there was no other choice. It was desperate. It was panic mode also. It was first panic mode. So we went in, I came with a group of people and with the Nissan people, selected a lot of talent inside Nissan. We made this transformation of the company that lasted for 18 years, successfully for 18 years. So I don't think any situation is desperate, but if you don't look at your problems the way they are, if you are trying to hide things, if you don't want to be objective vis-a-vis your difficulties, there is no way you're going to be redeemed. And it looks like Nissan today in this situation, not looking at their problem the way they are, and frankly, with, in my opinion, a very, very weak management team. Now, if the right person comes and you have somebody with talent and with the good knowledge of the industry, yes, they can make a transformation. Yes, without any doubt.
Bonjour. Good afternoon, Mr. Goon, or good morning. I'm Karine Nishimura, working with Radio France and Libération. I would like to know what is your relation now with France, and how you see the future of Lebanon, which is in very big difficulties.
Well, my relation in France, that means with the country, I think I have a very good relationship with the country. I have a lot of friends in France. You know, I've been trained in France. I made all my career with French companies. So my relation with France is very good. My relation with the French government is a different story because the way they have abandoned me during my ordeal in Japan is something that I cannot forgive. Obviously, the government is changing. When, you know, I remember the statements made by Bruno Le Maire, who was the former finance minister, who stayed as a finance minister for 7 years, who said that he trusted the Japanese system, justice system, that I'm a citizen like any other citizen. But, you know, when I came to Japan, I was not coming as a tourist or as a French citizen. I was coming at the head of Renault. I was the head of the alliance. I was at the head of one of the major interests of French interest inside Japan. And the fact that when I fell as a victim of a plot organized between some old boys inside Nissan and the corporation, without any doubt or knowledge, certainly of the Métis, they just abandoned me. You know, and they said it very clearly. He made a statement saying our relationship with Japan are more important than the fate of any individual. So I'm still bitter about it. I don't think that the French government showed a lot of courage here. It was confirmed to me by the former President Sarkozy, who, when he visited me in Japan, told me, look, if I was president, I would have sent Prime Minister of France. He would stay in Haneda. He would have come back with you. And if the Japanese have anything to say about you, or then you will be face the courts in France. That's what he told me. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. I had a kind of wishy-washy situation where they say, we're doing what is humanitarian for him, but they just abandoned me to my fate. But this is not France. This is the French government. There is a distinction between both. Now, when I left Japan, escaping from the hostage justice system, which, by the way, I've seen the poor Hakabada-san story that he spent 50 years in prison before he was considered as being innocent, with all the plots and the twists and the behavior of the prosecutor and the judges. It is heart-wrenching in a certain way to see this kind of situation. But I always think about the hundreds of thousands of people in Japan who are facing this system, who have absolutely no voice, who have submitted to the imperium of the prosecutor without any support from the judges. Or it makes me sad. And I just want to say by the side that if something like this would have happened before 1999, I would have never accepted to take a job in Japan. That's and I know that a lot of Japanese companies have difficulty to find a foreign executive, and I understand them. They're going to say, look, we can fall in a trap like this, and then God knows who's going to be helping us. Now for Lebanon, what I can tell you is situation of the country is difficult. The country is facing many challenges. Political challenges, financial challenges, economic challenges, existential also challenges. But also this is a situation where everything is open. Lebanon can go in every direction possible from now on. There is a presidential election that will take place on January the 9th, so we know who's going to be at the helm of the country. And I'm sure that whenever this person will be elected, a lot of goodwill and talent, because there are a lot of talent in Lebanon and of Lebanese people outside Lebanon, they will support this new administration in order to get the country out of trouble. So today's situation is very bad, but there are a lot of options to shore the situation up and to put Lebanon where it should be, which means at the best level of the Middle Eastern countries.
Thank you. Let's stay in Lebanon. I have a question from Dave Makumts. He belongs to the My Ninja Media. So asking, do you fully expect to leave Lebanon at some point?
I mean, I cannot answer this question, because if I am blocked in Lebanon today because there is a red notice from the Japanese legal system on me, and they are blocking the system, they are extending the hostage justice system to foreign country, which means the Lebanese authorities have asked Japan to say, look, we don't extradite our citizens, so if you want justice to be done, please transmit the file to Lebanese legal system, and we will try Mr. Goon in Lebanon for the crimes he has been accused of. Obviously, prosecutor refused that. They don't want to transmit it. Well, I can understand they don't want to transmit it because they know the whole thing is fake. That means this whole thing is made up. I would love to look at what is in these files, but from everything I've seen, the fact that the Japanese prosecutor wanted, in all cases, get a confession from me, and when they didn't get a confession, they just said, okay, we're going to expand, and we're going to bring new accusation, and we're going to put your family on the side, etc., etc. And all of this is recorded, as you know, but they will never release the recording. I will be here for a while, but I do not despair of one day Japan will have to change the system and look at this and look at all the victims of the system, and then release this infamous red notice that they put on me. That's what I can tell you. So nobody can predict the future. I was never able to see before 2018 that I would fall in a trap like this. Frankly, I was stunned by it. I was surprised. People asked me, Didn't I, suspect something like this? Yes, I suspected some adversity. I suspect some animosity, but not something as brutal and as violent as it happened, with all the bad consequences it had for everybody. So that's why I don't preclude about what's going to happen in the future, but I have hope that one day I will be able to travel in the world and go and seek all my different interests in different countries.
Thanks.
Hi, Mr. Goon. I'm Ryuko Sugimoto, and I'm working for a Taiwanese media Wealth. Thank you for having my question. I have two questions. One is, could you share your view on Hon Hai or Foxconn, the Taiwanese maker, Taiwanese company, which is having a huge, strong interest in Nissan? And is there any good or bad as a buyer of Nissan? And if Nissan is rejecting their offer, in reality, is there any rational reason? And this is one question. And another question is, why do you have in this press conference today? And this is very good timing. Is there any your personal interest to
Okay.
yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me answer the two questions. First, about Foxconn. Foxconn is a very bold move. I think it was very interesting because, if I understand very well, they want to build electric cars. And they think that is a kind of extension of their own business. I think it was a very interesting proposal. Obviously, I don't know enough in details about their intention to do with Nissan. But I can understand that these companies, which are much richer than Nissan and much more, who have plans for the future, they can be interested into taking control of Nissan and doing what they want to do inside Nissan instead of having to develop it by themselves or go and buy another company. So I think it was a very interesting proposal. I don't know enough details. I think at least it's a proposal where there is no duplication. There is complete complementarity here because you want to do something completely different, not to try to rationalize and buy together and choose platforms and close down plants and concentrate production, etc. So I find it very interesting. But, I used to know very well Terry Goh, who was sitting near me when we were together at the advisory council of Beijing University. He's a very realistic man. I think if they feel that there is opposition from the Métis, they wouldn't go, which I understand. If they feel that the political scene is not very favorable for something like this, you shouldn't go. Too much trouble. You have already the challenge of dealing with Nissan, but if on top of this you have to have a very hostile government or a government who is not going to be favor this, it's better to stop it. And if I understand well, the talks between Foxconn and Renault to buy the shares have been suspended, probably with the intervention of the French government, who has been during these periods extremely complacent to with the Japanese authorities. Now, why am I having this conference today? Frankly, I didn't intend to do it. It's Roger who asked me if I want to do that, and he insisted that there are so much topic that you guys wanted to interview with me. And I said yes to Roger, first because by friendship for him, and also because I have respect for your institution. I've been working with your institution for so many years. So I said, you know what, once in a while, appearing in front of you is not a bad thing.
Thank you very much for your kind words about FCCJ. And in fact, Roger was representing PAC, Professional Activities Committee, who approved this press conference. So in fact, we invited Mr. Hossein to appear here. That's for clearance. Next question. All right, I have a question online from Hans Gemel. He's from Automotive News. He's asking how involved you are personally, Mr. Goon, with any of the activities investors currently taking stakes or seeking stakes in Nissan, in either an investment or advisory role or other capacity.
Yeah, well, I can tell you I am not. I'm not involved because I think it's too early in a certain way. But I would not be surprised if at a certain point in time, people who are going to put big money in Nissan or to take control of Nissan will ask for the opinion of somebody, who knows the company very well for having presided over its fate for 18 years. Anyway, if I was in their position, I would do that. It doesn't cost me too much to listen to somebody who knows the company, who knows about the strengths, the weaknesses, the management, the organization. Even if it's a foreigner, the relationship with the Japanese authorities, I would do that. But for the moment, I am not involved. By the way, I just want to say that, as you know, because I don't want to look very aggressive against the Métis and the Japanese government, but I want to tell you that when I arrived in 1999, I had a very cooperative administration in Japan. Frankly, from the time of Koizumi-san was the Prime Minister of Japan, this was really perfect because he was understanding, he was open, he wanted to do good for the country, and he was able to look at what we are doing in a very objective manner, looking at the results, what we were doing, the respect of the identity, respect of the brand. So I can say that Japan has always been like this, and I was stunned to see the turn of events that frankly took place when late Abe-san became prime minister. And even Abe-san, when I was arrested, I know he met with business people and he told them this story, which should have never been taken by the prosecutor, this should have been solved in the boardroom of Nissan and let them solve the problem with themselves because no harm was done. There is no victim. You need to, if this is only corporate issue, it needs to be dealt with corporation. So there was a common sense. There is some more common sense, but unfortunately, you have always people with extreme opinions or extreme sensitivities, and when they prevail, it creates disasters.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Mr. Gohn, good afternoon from Tokyo. I'm managing DHL for Japan. So a quick question for you about this electric vehicle development in Japan. Japan is pretty slow, I would say, in electric vehicle development. You started many years ago with the Nissan, but as we see, it's not going anywhere. So any elaboration on that, on electric vehicle? And secondly, as you can see, I'm a foreigner as well. So any advice for foreign CEOs from your perspective? Thank you.
Okay. Well, if you're a foreign CEO, you're going to have to be very cautious, because they can bring against you any accusation of, misuse of company funds. If you go have a lunch and you don't justify how you paid the bill, you can have sexual harassment has been recently a factor because I understand that at least 2 people in Nissan have been defenestrated. 2 foreigners in Nissan has been defenestrated because they were accused of sexual harassment. Frankly, you have to be careful. You have to be careful not in Japan. You have to be careful because of the hostage justice system in Japan. If Japan comes back to a normal justice system like what exists in the United States or in Europe, etc., that would be no problem because you can defend yourself. But if you are in a position where you're a foreigner, you can't defend yourself in front of a prosecutor who, for whatever reason, wants your skin, you're dead. That's what I'm going to tell you. Now, EVs. Unfortunately, again, I think one of the mistakes of Nissan is not to have capitalized on the advance I've given Nissan by being the pioneer about mass marketing EVs. We were the first one. We were followed by Tesla. To bring electric cars, mass-marketed electric car to the market. And then everybody else follows. Unfortunately, in Nissan, you have, in a company, you have always many trends. You have the Me Too trend, which is we want to do the same thing than Toyota, want to do the same thing than Honda, etc., which is very strong, unfortunately, in Japan. And then you have the creative side about, no, let's go our own way, let's create something else. So obviously, I reinforce the second side by saying, no, you know what, yes, we're going to have hybrids, but we're going to be a Me Too hybrids, okay? But let's create something for us. And the us was the electric car. And we started the revolution of the electric car. And electric car today is a factor everywhere. The people who really followed thoroughly on the electric car are the winner in the industry today. From one side, you have Tesla, and from the other side, you have the Chinese. The Chinese made their strengths worldwide mainly based on electric cars. They are practically dominating this segment of the market. They are flooding the world with well done, well engineered, cheap electric cars. And the only way to defend themselves, some countries are just putting tariffs to fight against it. But tariffs has never been a solution. Tariff is just a temporary measure to allow your industry to catch up if it has lost time. Tariff cannot be a protection against a winning technological trend. So I'm a big believer in EV. I don't think EV is going to be the only technology, but they're going to be a main technology. And all those who have abandoned EV or did not develop EV are bearing the consequence. And all those who really pursued and focused on EV are the winners. The Chinese from one side, Tesla from the other side.
Thank you. Let me follow up on the tariffs issue. We know that President-elect Trump is championing the tariffs in his new presidency. He said that many times, and many countries are concerned about it. Do you see any impact on his tariffs policy on the car industry in the world and car also trading? Thank you.
Yeah, well, without any doubt, if you put tariffs, it's going to have an impact. It's going to have an impact on reducing the exchange, and it has an impact also on the consumer. Frankly, between the announcements of tariffs from one side and what's going to happen on the market, there may be a difference, because this is also a negotiation team. I'm going to put tariff unless you fix this problem, etc. So this is classical. It has already appeared. I don't think we need to take everything at face value, but I think what matters is what at the end is going to be implemented. This, not what's being announced, but what's going to be really implemented will have an impact on the industry. Our industry is a global industry. That means no car maker can make it by restraining himself to a country or to a region. It's impossible. Because of the amount of the investment that we have to develop in technology, because the cost of a platform, because the cost of a new car, the cost of a new engine, we have to have the global market. We have to compete on the global market. And tariffs reduce this accessibility and weakens the company, and in a certain way reduce the capacity of consumer to buy these products. So I personally think this is not going to stay. If it happens, it's not going to stay. It's going to fade away, because without any doubt, the markets are going to have again to reopen, because it makes so much sense. It doesn't mean that globalization is going to continue like nothing happened. I think we're going to have a combination of nationalism from one side and globalization also on the side, but is a more balanced way. I don't think tariff is the solution. I think the tariff is a temporary solution to fix a problem that you have in mind and you want to fix.
Thank you. I have a question online from René McAvoy. He's with Japan Media Services. How do you think the media coverage of your case has impacted the perception of corporate governance and the Japanese justice system globally?
Well, I can tell you that the coverage of my case when I was arrested in 2018 was terrible. Was terrible for a very simple reason. I can't defend myself. I was not allowed to speak to the press, as you know. When I was arrested in November 2018, and then I came out in March 2019, it was clearly said that, I couldn't talk to the press. When I tried to organize a press conference, I was brought back to Kosuge. I was rearrested again. And then when I was bailed again, I think the general prosecutor of Japan, responding to the media, one journalist asked him questions about, is it true that Mr. Goon cannot talk to the press? He said, no, it's not true. He can't talk to the press. But we are also free to bring new charges, which was an obvious answer about shut up and don't open your mouth and let us continue to hammer your reputation and let us be the only one talking about you. So when I escaped and came to Lebanon, I had 1 year delay into trying to rectify this image and try to, bring back some kind of realism to everything which has been said. And it was a hard battle. It was an uphill battle. Now, the hostage justice system in Japan, it's not the first time. This was a very known case because international press covered it. It brought the light on the system, but the system existed already for a certain time. And let's not forget about the hundreds of thousands of Japanese who are victims of the system all the time. Nobody talk about them. When you see the power of the prosecutor, and frankly, I was the CEO of a large company. I had all the media looking at my case. And when I witnessed the brutality of the prosecutors and the lack of objectivity of the prosecutors, the only obsession they had is you have to confess to what we are accusing you of, with all the power of the state behind them and the fact that you cannot access your lawyers. I can imagine the normal Japanese citizen in front of a situation like this. It's pitiful. It's heart-wrenching in a certain way to see that you have hundreds of thousands of people going through that. And many of them are innocent, but they have to confess just to end up the onslaught of offensive coming and threatening coming from the prosecutor. So it put in light the hostage justice system in Japan. And I was, in a certain way, when I saw the United Nations statement saying that my arrest was arbitrary, and they asking Japanese government to make an inquiry about what happened and even offer compensation for what happened to me. It means that evil does not always prevail. It can prevail for a while, but at a certain point in time, right will prevail. We don't know how much time it's going to take, but I'm absolutely sure that one day or the other, Japan will get rid of the system and the omnipotence and the overpower of the prosecutor into the system.
Thank you. We still have a few more minutes. If you have any question, please let me know. All right. Let me ask you a personal question. I want to buy a new car, so in Tokyo. So what would you recommend for me? Seriously.
Well, you have plenty of choice. You have a lot of great company and great product. By the way, you can have a great product without having a great company. I would personally recommend, depends on how you're using the car. But I can tell you the Patrol of Nissan is a great car. I'm still using it. This is a car that I supervised in engineering, and we developed it particularly for the Middle East. It's a great car. So you can have great car in company which are not so great. My recommendation, if you want a 4x4, go buy a Patrol. If you want just a city car, probably the safest bet in Japan would be Toyota.
Thank you. I will consider that.
Mr. Ogon, one more time, Radio France, Karine Nishimura. We talk a lot about Nissan, but what could you say about Renault? And also about Stellantis. Your former friend, I think, Carlos Tavares, was also dislisted from Stellantis. How do you see the situation of the French automakers?
Well, obviously, I can talk about Renault more than I can talk about Stellantis, even though, as you know, I know very well Carlos Tavares. He was part of my team for a very long time. I think the guy is very talented. He's made a great job in Stellantis. Obviously, had a tough year, like many other companies. And so I cannot tell you more than that. But for Renault went back to what it was before 1999. That's it. I mean, it's after, unfortunately, Renault has been accomplice with the nomination of Sénard as chairman of the board, nominated by the French government, by the way, to continue this policy of bending backward to please the Japanese authorities. he told us a lot of stories that the line's going to work, that there's going to be new alliance, partnership, etc., etc. All bullshit. I mean, at the end of the day, nothing happens. Renault was booted out. There was no intention to work with Renault, which was something that I knew from the beginning, since the way I was arrested. Okay, but they continue the story of no, this is going to be working. You're going to see, etc. So at the end of the day, Renault used to be selling, I think, in 2018 more than 4 million cars. Now finding itself very proud of selling 2.3 million cars, and they're very happy about it by saying, but you know what, it's better cars, we make more money, which is not true. Renault came back to what it was before 1999, a well-run European car maker, average to small size, but frankly, in my opinion, there is no future for this kind of things. I mean, you can be small but very specified. You can be in the luxury brand. You can be like Ferrari or like Mercedes Benz or like Audi. Yeah, you can, but you cannot be a generalist and small and particularly limited to Europe. They went out of China, they went out of Russia, they went out of all the markets where they were challenged. That's not the way to grow. You grow by facing your competition, by adapting to the situation, no matter how difficult it is. I'm not saying this from Renault. So my opinion is Renault was another victim of what happened with my arrest, because they were on top of everything in 2018, jointly with Nissan. Now they are a small European generalist, doing some reasonably good results. But when I look at the future, I don't see where they can go in front of the onslaught of the Chinese, in front of mammoths like Toyota, like Hyundai, like innovators like Tesla. I don't know what's the mission.
Thank you. I think we reached basically the end of the session. I was told to end it sharp at 2 o'clock, so I will give you several last remarks if you want to send a message to the Japanese government or Japanese meeting.
Well, no. But my only message is for the Japanese people. I love Japan. I worked 19 years. I had some of my best years over there. I'll always have a lot of respect for the Japanese culture, for the Japanese way of life. I still have a lot of Japanese friends. The only wish I have is one day Japan will take a look at the hostage justice system, change it, and frankly repair the damage which has been done for so many people through the omnipotence of their prosecutorial system. That's the only message I have. And I wish all of you a happy holiday season, and wishing to talk to you one day in the future whenever there will be a topic of interest.
Thank you very much. Same wishes to you. I would like to tell you that we offer our guests one year honorary membership, the club. So you can come here and enjoy our club facilities. But the office tells me that we need you to provide us your address in Beirut so we can send it to you by mail. And you have 1 year. We hope that the situation becomes normal and you can come and visit Japan you love again. So
thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming today, and have a nice evening. Please give a big hand to Carlos.
Thank you. Thank you very much.